Hey friends, it's Tori. Welcome back to my channel. I did not have enough going on in my life right now, so I figured that I would do a 24-hour reading challenge. So I am not going to be staying up for a full 24 hours, but I am hoping to get the 24-hour reading challenge done within a span of like 2 days. Partially because I am way too old for that. And number two, I'm a mom. I have kids. I have other stuff going on. There's no way that I can just disappear for 24 hours straight. So we are going to do a 24-hour reading challenge where I have set 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds on the timer on my phone. I have my appropriately cozy blanket. I have my tea because I'm also sick and I'm getting better, but I'm still a little sick. There is no better time for me to cozy up and read. And this reading challenge is going to have a special focus. We are going to be reading as many manga volumes in 24 hours as we possibly can. So I have pulled a rather large stack here off of my manga and graphic novel shelf, and we're going to just try and get through as many of these this weekend as we possibly can. I'm very excited about it because I need a break. I've been reading a lot of really big, chonky science fiction, epic fantasy, classic books recently, and I need a reset, a brain break, and this stack of books is going to do that for me. So there is one manhwa on this or graphic novel, Korean graphic novel on this list, which is Your Letter. I'll be buddy reading this with my good friend Casey from Bookishly Bookish. Very excited about this one. So I don't know if I'll start with this one, but this one will definitely be getting read this weekend. I have some catching up to do on Spy Family. I have volumes 14 and 15. I have to look and see if volume 16 has come out already. I don't know. I should check that out. I also have 3 more volumes, 4, 5, and 6 of Claymore, which is one of my favorite animes of all time, and starting up the manga in the last few months, I have absolutely loved going back to this world and these characters and experiencing it all over again as an adult. I also have the first volume of Your Name by Makoto Shinkai. This one, I can't remember if this was adapted. I'm pretty sure that this has a anime question mark. It has to. I'm pretty sure it does. I live under a rock, you guys, don't mind me. I also have Cat Plus Gamer, and I do have 2 more volumes of it down there in case I get bit by the bug and just want to continue reading. I have 2 volumes of Island in a Puddle, volumes 2 and 3. I've already read volume 1, really enjoyed it, want to continue. And then last but not least, we have a little bit chunkier volume of Erased, number 1 by Kei Sambe, who is also the mangaka for Island in a Puddle. This one I'm very, very intrigued by, so I wanted to add this to the stack as well. Now, I do have Vagabond. I have 3 volumes of Vagabond. We will see how adventurous I'm feeling this weekend. I'm not saying I'm taking this off the table, but I have been reading a lot of really epic storytelling recently, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this vlog is to just have a little bit of a break. So this may or may not get added to the stack this weekend. We'll see. If I can't stand being away from epic for that long, I'll go back to this. But guys, I think we are going to start with Cat Plus Gamer because honestly, I want to try something new. This one looks absolutely wholesome and adorable, and that is exactly what I am most looking for at the moment. And after we finish this one, I'm going to pick one of the series to continue. But for now, let's get started with Cat Plus Gamer. So I am officially going to be starting my 24-hour timer. As you can see, we have a long ways to go and a lot of manga to read, so let's get going. Okay, you guys, I am halfway through the first volume of Cat Plus Gamer. This is so wholesome. I knew it was gonna be. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not, but it's just so delightfully wholesome. So this follows a young woman who, she's like 29, she's got a 9-to-5 office job, she always says no to socializing, she doesn't have a significant other, she doesn't really go out with friends. She gets done with her job at 5 on the dot, she goes home and she video games. Video gaming is her whole, that's what she does for enjoyment, that's what she wants to go home for, until the day comes where she, spur of the moment, adopts a stray kitten. And she starts as cat owner level 0. And like, this is so cute. It is all of the like, this has so many of the things that new cat owners discover about cats, and the trying to figure things out and seeing all of the different quirks and mannerisms that cats have, especially as a kitten. And not only that, but there's some really poignant commentary in this about video game culture, about pet ownership, about all of this stuff. And one of my favorite things so far, you guys, is she's looking at these different characters in the video game that she plays. And this character walks by her and she sees this new outfit that's been dropped over the weekend for the characters, this new armor set. And as you can see, it's, you know, very typical fantasy female armor. She basically looks at it and says, it kind of shows off the legs a lot. It's more fan service than practical, I guess. A moment of silence for a mangaka calling that out. That made me so happy. You guys, as a epic military fantasy nerd, a avid video gamer, that just made me so happy. It made me so happy because I love that the mangaka is just calling it right out. That makes me so happy. We're gonna move on now, but I just wanted to share that with you. This is adorable so far, and I cannot wait for the rest of this book. Another thing I really like about this is that the artist is calling out the differences. They're showing like what's happening from the human perspective, and then there will be a panel from the cat's perspective. It kind of shows the difference between how a cat perceives the world and what's going on versus how a human does, and how sometimes when a cat does things that a human would immediately perceive as being naughty or destructive or whatever, it's just like a natural cat thing that the cat's not even thinking about. I think it's very wholesome, and also it's a little bit more detailed than I was anticipating, and I kind of love that about it. You guys, she's trying to get a picture of the cat, and like, is this not the most relatable thing you've ever seen? Like, her entire camera roll is just... I love this so much. I love this so much. As somebody who has been a cat person my whole life, this is just making me so happy. And speak of the cats, and they will come. You knew I was reading a cat manga, didn't you? That's why you wanted to come in. Yeah. You say hi, everybody. You say hi. Who's that? Sit. He's bothering me now because he would like to be fed, and did I not know that he's starving to death? So I just finished Cat Plus Gamer Volume 1, and we are at 23 hours and 10 minutes, so it took me about 50 minutes to read this with a couple of breaks in between. This was adorable. This was super adorable. It was everything that I was hoping it would be, and there's some like very silly, convenient manga things at the very end, but honestly, I don't really care at this point. It's so cute. This is, and I absolutely love that the author is showing everything that happens, and then this like single page panel of the cat's experience of those same events. It's really cute. And the best part is at the very end, there's this little picture of this adorable cat that looks very similar to the one in the manga, that at the start of the series, the mangaka got their own cat. And that cat became like the model for this manga, and that's just stinking adorable, and I love it so much. And there's a tiny part of me that kind of just wants to read all 3 volumes that I own. It's gonna be either that, or I think I might jump into your letter. But actually, I think what we're gonna do is I think we're going to do a little catching up on Spy Family, because this is a series that I absolutely love. If you're completely unfamiliar with it, there is a master spy named Lloyd Forger, or at least that's the alias he's going under at the moment, and he basically creates a family of convenience for his next infiltration mission, where he needs to be a family man. And so he enters a marriage of convenience with a woman who happens to be a master assassin. Neither of them know what their real jobs are. And then they have an adopted daughter who's a telepath who knows everything. And it is an absolute delight of a manga series. And I have been told by my husband, who's already read these, that this one in particular is going to be a very emotional read. And I'm very excited about that. I'm going to take a little break for some supper, but then we're going to get back into manga reading. All right, guys, so it has been a little while since I last updated you. We are now down to 19 hours, 54 minutes on the challenge. This is a real life 24-hour reading challenge. So I did finish a couple things since I talked to you last, but I also had a very sick kiddo who needed some cuddles. So that took precedence over any 24-hour reading challenge. And yeah, I'm just hoping she feels better soon. But I ended up finishing volume 14 of Spy Family. Still loving this series. We get some backstory on a couple of the side characters in this one, and it's just a very sweet story. I do still think that the mangaka does, or the author artist does, toe a very close line with a few content topics. I don't know, but overall I thought that this was really beautiful and really liked the backstory of this. And there are a couple of frames in this volume that might be some of my favorite in the series, so loved that. I'm going to be going into volume 15 probably next. However, in between, after I finished 14, I read Your Letter by Hyun A. Cho. And you guys, this book is so beautiful. This is exactly the kind of beautiful, wholesome story that I feel like I really needed today. It is beautifully drawn. There's a lot of stories that deal with bullying and the struggle to find friends in school and trying to, transfer, go somewhere else to get away from a bad situation. And so when this one started, I wasn't sure how much of a same old kind of story I was going to be in for, but this one has the most tiny sprinkling of magic to it. And it took a direction I was not expecting multiple times. And it is so wholesome, you guys. It is so beautiful. It is so sweet. Basically, this story starts with a young girl who's had to transfer schools because she was experiencing some pretty severe bullying. And when she gets to this new school, she finds a letter taped under her desk that basically gives her a little bit of information about the school and who the people in her class are and some information about the teachers, basically just giving her a little head start, and also coordinates to a second letter, and there the story progresses. This is something that I would love to read with my kiddos at some point. Easy 5 stars. The artwork is absolutely stunning in here, and I absolutely loved it. Huge win for me in this reading vlog, if nothing else, because I was hoping to love this as much as I did, and it is a huge recommendation from me. That means that we have officially finished 3 so far, and we are going into the 4th manga. I'm going to read volume 15, which is a continuation of Spy Family volume 14. The story kind of ended abruptly within the backstory section for volume 14, and now volume 15 is, I'm assuming, going to pick up where we left off and give us the rest of that story. So very excited to continue, and I don't know how late I'm going to end up staying up tonight. I'm gonna read until I get to a point where I can't anymore and need to get some sleep, and then I'll pick up again right away in the morning. Hey guys, so it is later that same night and I did finish Spy Family 15. I loved this volume. There were some fantastic backstory. There was some phenomenal moments where we're getting deeper into the characters' motivations and lives and inner struggles, and I love that. There is still, and I've been saying this for quite a few volumes of this now, there is a minor side character that continually bothers me in terms of how she's being portrayed, because honestly, if that came out of this series, I would have given this a 5-star because the other stuff in here was just so good. So I am officially caught up on Spy Family now, what is available of it. And I can't remember if the next volume comes out like in September this year or something, but I am officially caught up now. And I got to the end of this one and it's quiet in the house right now. Everybody else is going to sleep or is asleep. And I've been kind of, you know, hitting these manga volumes really fast one after the other. And I wanted something a little bit chunkier. I wanted something that's gonna take me a little bit more time. And I've been loving what I've been reading so far, but I want something a little bit more, it's gonna be a little bit more of a time commitment. So I am going to start Erased by Kei Sanbe. There are, I think, 5 volumes in this, and I have 17 hours and 25 minutes left on my timer. So I'm gonna read until I decide that it's time for bed. I can definitely tell that I'm gonna need a good amount of sleep tonight because I am still under the weather and feeling a little bit gross. So I'm gonna read, I'm gonna snuggle up in my blanket. I might sip on a little bit of tea, and yeah, I'll give you an update before I go to bed. Hey guys, okay, so it is almost 1 o'clock in the morning and I have 16 hours and 40 minutes left on my timer, and I have reached a little over the halfway point of Erased Volume 1. This, we're getting into some heavier stuff now. This is, I've disturbed the cat, he is now leaving. This is about a young man, well, it's not really a young man, he's 30 in the present day, and he has a lot of kind of bottled up memories of some horrible crimes that happened when he was a kid. So in this story, we meet Satoru, who is a 30-year-old man who has a lot of bottled up survivor's guilt, trauma from the experience of being around or aware of kidnappings and murders when he was in elementary school. Crimes that happened then catch up with him in a way in his present life. And before this, we've also established that he is able to, that time does this thing with him where if some kind of tragedy or catastrophe is going to happen right next to him, it will actually send him back a little bit in time before the incident so that he has to start looking around and figuring out what's going on so he can stop it. However, when a major event happens in his present day life, he gets sent back to his elementary school days because what happened cannot be fixed unless he goes all the way back and faces what happened when he was a child. It is definitely way darker than anything I've been reading today, but I also already really am intrigued by the way the author is portraying this kind of cyclical. I love the kind of metaphor that this revival, as he calls it, this sending back in time to prevent catastrophe, kind of mimicking the way people with traumatic memories or PTSD kind of get stuck in a loop, reliving the moment over and over and over again. And I find that really interesting that he's actually using it in the narrative of the story as a physical element. That's really cool. It's really good. It's really good. Like, I did not want to stop reading. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning and I need to sleep, but I did not want to stop reading. it's very almost like crime fiction with some magical realism thrown in. There's definitely some trigger warnings for obviously the kidnappings and murders that happened when Satoru was young. None of those have been on page, none of them but he's gonna go back and figure out how to stop all of this from happening. I really like the art style. It's really pretty. And one of the things, I think I showed this when I bought the book, but there's these really beautiful illustrated pages in the front that are full color, and then our first page is in full color. So I do also love, I think it's really funny that so many mangas and Japanese stories start with a person who really has this dream to be a manga artist, to be a mangaka, and they're struggling. And that's like the catalyst for so many of these kind of stories. Yeah, I think the conversation around repressed trauma and childhood trauma, and as an adult, going back to heal that childhood trauma. I love that this story is kind of standing in as a physical metaphor of that, actually having the main character go back in time to stop everything and fix it, which unfortunately those of us with PTSD cannot do that. But I really like that as a story concept a lot. That's where we're at. I am gonna go get ready for bed and continue with this in the morning. Good morning, friends. You could probably hear by my voice why this update is going to be as late as it is, because this is the first time today that I have felt like I could talk without coughing, or that you'd be able to even understand what I was saying. So here's what we're doing. I did get up this morning at about 8:30, but I was not feeling the best, and I have a new book coming out, a novella coming out very soon, and I had a whole bunch of work to do this morning to get stuff ready for that, send it off to formatting and all of that stuff. If you're interested, shameless plug, in the description box there is links to my website and everything, and the novella is going to be coming out in the Legends of the Buruhai series. So if you want to learn more about that, feel free. I'll be dropping my cover reveal probably the day after this vlog goes up, actually, over on Instagram, which you can also find down in my description box below. But shameless plug aside, let's get back to reading our manga. So I have 6 hours and 19 minutes left. I did put this on pause this morning. I let it run while I was sleeping, like I said I was going to, but I had so much extra stuff that I needed to get done this morning for the novella cover reveal and release that I did pause it for a while so that I would still give myself a decent chunk of time. So it's still a realistic 24-hour day, and I'm, unapologetically just living my life and trying to read books. So I did finish Erased this morning, though. I snuggled up in bed with my blanket and my cats, and we finished Erased by Kei Sanbei. So I feel like so far the author has actually been pretty good about what he is showing on page versus insinuating or telling, which I appreciate. So while there is definitely content warnings for children in perilous and abusive situations in this book, the way that he's exploring this and the way that our main character is struggling with these gaps in memory, even back in time, trying to remember when things happened, how they happened, so that he can hopefully stop them from happening and prevent all of the tragedy going forward, is really interesting. He's playing with that kind of PTSD, memory, survivor's guilt, all of that kind of stuff in a way that is really intertwined with the physical elements of the story, which I think is fascinating. Really, really am liking this so far. It is, it's not a light read. And I actually wasn't aware of the fact that there's a whole subsection of manga that is basically crime fiction. I wasn't aware of that. And like I said, so far I feel like the author is handling this pretty well and really focusing on the right areas of the things that are going on, the right people. Because one of the things I always look for in fiction like this is how much spotlight are we giving to a perpetrator, you know? And that's a big deal for me. So this one so far is going well. I did not want to put this down. So thankfully, and I'm a little worried about this actually, I do have volume 2. I bought them both at the same time for an insanely good deal back on Pango Books months ago. And I do have volume 2. So I think I am going to go straight into Erased volume 2. Now, I do still want to read Cat Plus Gamer 2 and 3. So I think what I will probably do is start with Erased, and because this is a heavier type of story, this will be a really good wind down for my manga reading today and kind of put me back in that wholesome, lighter space, which I think will be good. But I'm really excited that I will have read both of these. So I have my blanket, I have my tea, my voice is holding out. We're holding out, and I'm actually doing quite a bit better than I was this morning. So we're gonna read some more manga. You guys, I finished Erased Volume 2. I was planning on giving you guys an update about halfway through, but honestly, I could not stop reading. I sat down and I binged it all in one sitting, and I have now completed both volumes that I own, which is a bit of a bummer. So I may have to request the next volumes from the library. However, I won't be able to read them for this vlog, which is kind of a bummer because I do think that if I had them, I would have just binged through the entire series. Volume 2 was really interesting because it takes a little bit of a different direction than I was anticipating. We kind of have dual timelines going on where there's, you know, the crime that's happening in the present day in 2006, and then we have the crimes that happened in the 1980s beforehand, and we're kind of going back and forth because obviously they're correlated to each other, and the perpetrator is, you know, presumably the same person. So in the first volume we did time hop a little bit more, especially in the beginning while we were kind of setting up that this is what Satoru does or can do. And it's still a little unclear to me whether it's on command or not. Kind of, but not really. Very specific circumstances where like he has to notice a specific detail within the scene for him to actually go back in time. There are some really sweet moments between Satoru and his friends back in the 1980s as he is trying to rewrite history and keep certain people safe. But yeah, I really enjoyed this so far, you guys. I'm really glad that I got these. I kind of took a chance because I'd had Island in a Puddle. I think I'd only read the first volume when I bought these of Island in a Puddle, but I liked the storytelling concepts that Kei Sanbei was dealing with, and when I read the synopsis of this series, I was very intrigued. So, and also, can we just talk about how satisfying this like super minimalism white cover is? I absolutely love it. And the artwork that I've been showing you guys from the fronts of these omnibus editions are so beautiful. They're so beautiful. There are 5 volumes total. I definitely want to continue this series. This is probably the one I would drop everything for right at this moment because I'm very curious to see how it progresses. And we still have 3 volumes left, which shows me that all the progress that Satoru has made by Volume 2, the end of Volume 2, there's a lot left to go. And clearly there's going to be some wrenches thrown into the process. So, we have now finished 2 omnibus volumes of Erased, and 4 individual volumes, which is feeling pretty good for a 24-hour period. I have just about 5 hours left on my timer. So I know that that is going to be more than enough to read Cat Plus Gamer Volume 2 and 3, which I'm very excited about. So I am kind of starting to think about what I might want to read after that. I might go back to Island in a Puddle and read volumes 2 and 3 of that as well, potentially, if I have enough time, because I do really like Kei-san-based storytelling, and after Erased, wanting more of that, this might tide me over a little bit until I can get the next volumes. So I have 2 other options. I have the complete volume of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoru Sumino and Idumi Kirihara. This one is 1 volume, so it's the entire story in one, which would be kind of nice, and it is long enough that I do feel like it might take me a little bit more of the time I have left. We'll see how I'm feeling after Cat Plus Gamer, because these are my next 2 reads for sure, and we'll see what happens after that. Hey guys, so I am over halfway through Cat Plus Gamer Volume 2. It's still adorable. There's a little bit of a, like, background, not a conflict, but storyline with one of the main character's co-workers that I feel like it's pretty, like, manga convenience. But it is so cute, and he's growing. The cat is growing now, so it's showing a bunch of different things that he's able to do now, like get up on countertops and destroy things at higher levels than he was able to before. It's really wholesome, it's really cute, and this is definitely a good follow-up for me from Erased, which was a little heavier, so I'm very much enjoying this series still. And yeah, I'll update you guys when I get past this one and or Volume 3. And I have officially finished Volume 2 and Volume 3 of Cat Plus Gamer, and I'm so glad that I went back to this after Erased, because it was exactly... it just brought my mood back up immediately. And not that Erased was bad, it was really, really good, but I wanted something that was gonna, like, you know, lift me back up a little bit after that. And these are just so cute, you guys. They're so relatable as a cat owner, and I love some of the panels in here just had me laughing out loud. There's one in Volume 3 where Rico, the main character, has this whole plan of how she's going to get a little bit less sleep so she can spend more time gaming after she gets home from work, because she's got this new game. And so she goes to bed, everything's going to plan, and then we just get this amazing panel of the cat not going to bed. And anybody who's owned cats knows that cats are phenomenally talented at interrupting your sleep for a variety of reasons. So it's cute. It's very, very cute, and I definitely will be continuing this series. I bought the first 3 just to kind of taste test them and see what I thought. I love this. I love it so much, and this is going to be a great series for when I need to pick me up in the middle of some of my heavier reads. And the best part of these series that I'm reading, you guys, is, like, this is, I think, the longest one, besides Spy Family, which is ongoing. The rest of the ones I've been reading are currently finished, and they are, like, 5 omnibus editions or 8 volumes. This one's only 8 volumes long. I can't wait. I'm so excited, and I love that it's not, you know, 30 to 50 volumes, because that's a lot. That can be a lot. So anyways, high recommendation on this series for me. I mean, we've got a pretty hefty stack going here, guys, of books that we have finished in the last 24 hours. This is honestly more than I thought I was going to get through, and I think being sick and having multiple people in my house who are sick, we're all just kind of laying around and eating and staying hydrated and being mildly miserable. So There's a lot of reading going on. There's a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender watching going on. So honestly, I've had way more leisure time this weekend than I was anticipating. I have 2 hours and 48 minutes left on my timer, and I was really debating what to do to finish it out. 3 hours probably could get me through at least 3 or 4 more volumes. However, I know I held this one up before. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoru Sumino and Idumi Kirihara. This one is a younger aged graphic novel as well. Absolutely gorgeous illustration. Look at this in the front here. Absolutely beautiful. And this one follows a introverted high school aged boy who kind of becomes reluctant friends with a girl in his class, and he discovers that she has some kind of horrible, potentially fatal disease. I don't know that much about it. Other than that, that's kind of the general gist of it. And honestly, what I'm hoping to get out of this is one of my favorite animes of all time is Clannad and Clannad the After Story. Absolutely brilliant. I watched them in college. They're some of the most beautiful anime I've ever seen in my life. And I kind of want a little bit of that vibe from this. I'm hoping that's what I get from it, but we will see. But as you can see, this one's a little bit longer, again, more like the erased novels, and this is the full story in a bind-up. So I think I'm going to try this and see how much time I have when I'm done with it. I am going to take a little bit of a break and go outside for some fresh air, take a walk, get hydrated again, and then I might sit down for some more reading. So I am out on a walk trying desperately to get some fresh air. It is cold today, really cold, and I bundled up a little extra because I don't want to get sicker. So update on I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. I'm not having fun with it, you guys. This might be my first DNF of the 24-hour challenge, which I'm really disappointed by. But I think I need to pull the plug. This one feels like fluffy melodramatic, and I'm 80 pages in and I don't really care, and considering the subject matter, I should care at this point. And I don't know, like, I've been loving the manga that I've been reading for this vlog so much that this one just feels really lackluster to me. I don't love it. I know it's gotten pretty high ratings on Goodreads, but I just don't love it. So I think I'm going to put this one down, and I think I have about 2 hours left on my challenge, maybe a little less when I get home. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do for the last 2 hours, because at this point my brain kind of feels like it's oozing out my ears, and I don't know if I want to read anything because I've been literally reading manga straight for the whole last day, other than sleeping for the most part. I'm trying to figure out if starting something now is going to be unfair to the book and I'm just not going to like it because my brain's goo at this point. I don't know. So when I get back to the house, we'll see if there's another one that will pique my interest before I quit. All right, guys, I am back from the walk now, and like I mentioned, I'm going to be DNFing I Want to Eat Your Pancreas about 80 pages in. I'm just not feeling it. And I don't love the writing style in this one. And again, I never know how much of that is translation versus original intention, but I don't know. This one's a little too shallow, surfacey, fluffy for me, and again, I didn't get that far in, so if you absolutely love this manga and it gets super deep later on, that's great. And I really went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to keep going, actually, because like I said on the walk, I'm getting very mentally fatigued with the amount of manga that I'm reading, and I love manga, but I am definitely ready to read something else. And that's one of the things that I didn't anticipate going into this vlog, and I think a good example of why in the future I will probably mix up the reads more on a vlog. But I'm glad I did this because I've been wanting to get to so many of these manga volumes for so long, and I've had a fantastic time with most of them, so that just makes me really happy. But I have approximately 1 hour and 53 minutes left on my timer. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna go back and let Kei Sanbei close us out, hopefully, for the last couple of hours of this vlog. I'm going to read volumes 2 and 3 of Island in a Puddle. I read volume 1 late last year, I want to say, and this is a story about a young man, a young boy, who is taking care of his younger sister. They're both children after their mother basically abandons them. And the other kind of main-ish character of the story is a young man who's on the run from a criminal history, that he's not the greatest person, and he just kind of takes life for granted and is not great. And during a lightning storm on a Ferris wheel, because of course, the young boy and the young man's bodies get swapped. So now this young man with a criminal history is taking care of a little girl, and her brother is a wanted criminal. So it was very interesting. I liked the setup of it in the first volume, so I am hoping that despite my manga fatigue at this point, that Kei Sanbei is going to give us a strong finish here at the end of our 24-hour reading challenge. So I am going to get comfortable. I'm going to get myself some more tea because it was very cold outside. And I'm just going to snuggle in and we're going to finish out reading the rest of our manga. I'm tapping out. I have 17 minutes left on my timer from the 24-hour reading challenge. And I have finished Island in a Puddle volumes 2 and 3. I don't think I could read another manga because my brain is about to ooze out my ears. This was a ton of reading. I got through way more manga than I thought I was going to, if I'm being totally honest. I was not anticipating reading this big of a stack of books. So, my final thoughts on Island in a Puddle. There were a couple of content choices in volume 2 specifically as we were getting into the body switch, like the beginning of the body switch, that I did not appreciate and I did not think were necessary. There's a lot of like convenience, people showing up very conveniently, just happen to be there, just happen to know where somebody is. The action's a little muddy. And I'm not disliking it per se, but I just am finding Erased so much more compelling, I think, than this one. I probably still will read volumes 4 and 5 because at this point I only have 2 volumes of the series left, so I might finish it at some point, but I will probably get those from the library. It's dark, it's crime-y, there's moments of wholesomeness that kind of are sprinkled throughout, as you might imagine, with one of our characters being a hardened criminal who is now in the body of a young boy and has a 6-year-old sister. He's being brought back to a life that he never had, or brought back to a life he could have had but didn't. There's moments where he has the opportunity to choose to be kind. So I find that whole conversation really interesting. I don't know. There are a few things that made it not as much of a love as Erased was. Hey, I've read these and now I'm caught up on what I have, which means that during the course of this 24 hours, we have completed this stack of manga. Now, that's a little deceptive because this one, hold on, was a DNF. But I read the rest of these. And the only reason I got through all of these manga volumes is because I have been sick and we've been having a very leisurely weekend. So that helped. I don't normally read this much. But it was really nice. And I have to say, I was not anticipating enjoying this many of the reads as much as I did. I overall had a really great time with all of these for the most part. So that's awesome. We love that. I would say if I had to pick a favorite from this, it's going to be a toss-up between Erased and Your Letter. And I think I'm going to give it to Your Letter. This is just so wholesome and so beautifully drawn, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I would love to read this again already. I'm definitely going to read it with my kids at some point because it's just so sweet and really, there's some really beautiful deep moments in here. And Erased is a series that I will be continuing. I will probably finish Island in a Puddle at some point. So like none of these series are series I wouldn't continue, which is also a big win. Spy Family, obviously, I'm gonna keep reading them. I do have some qualms with a certain character, but overall, I do really love Spy Family. Cat Plus Gamer, huge fan, love it. Island in a Puddle, I'll probably finish the last 2 volumes just to see what happens. And Erased was a really big pleasant surprise for me. I was anticipating liking it, didn't know that I was going to like it as much as I did, and then this was such a treasure to find in the midst of all of that. That wraps up officially our 24-hour reading challenge. We have 11 minutes on the clock that I'm gonna let run down. It will take me way longer than that to edit this anyway, but I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. It was something a little different. I had a great time with it, and I really loved doing the challenge and just seeing how many books I could get through. Definitely go down in the description box, check out my links to all of my social media platforms, my website if you want to check out my fantasy books. And yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride, you guys. I would love to know in the comments if you guys read manga, if you like manga, what are your favorite series, favorite volumes, favorite mangakas? Let me know. And yeah, I hope you're having a fantastic week. I hope that you are reading some 5-star reads, and I'll see you in the next video.